At 2:30 a.m. on November 28, 1953, Frank Olson plummeted from a 13th floor window of the Statler Hotel, falling over 100 feet to the Manhattan pavement below. While the police classified his death as a suicide, Olson's family spent decades arguing it was something far more calculated, a covert government assassination. 9 days before he hit the sidewalk, Olson had been at a meeting with several colleagues. There, a CIA chemist secretly spiked Olson's drink with a high dose of LSD, initiating a terrifying psychedelic trip he was never permitted to recover from. This single death eventually forced the public disclosure of a secret illegal infrastructure involving over 80 separate institutions, all dedicated to the weaponization of the human psyche. Driven by the fear that the Soviet Union had perfected techniques for brainwashing, the CIA launched Project Artichoke and its successor, MKUltra, to ensure American dominance in the field of behavioral control. Their objectives were absolute. They wanted a drug that could act as a perfect truth serum and a method to induce total amnesia or override a subject's free will entirely. To protect these secrets, the agency's own manual suggested that the contrived accident was the most effective way to eliminate a person. It specifically noted that a fall of 75 feet onto a hard surface was the most efficient technique. This 1977 Senate report confirms the agency was aware of the lethal stakes. It highlights the CIA's failure to inform the Army of a death that resulted from the secret administration of LSD to unwitting Americans. In the name of national security, the CIA had adopted the very tactics they feared from their enemies, treating citizens as expendable subjects in an effort to master the human mind. In 1954, the agency established a domestic testing ground in San Francisco. Under the name Operation Midnight Climax, the CIA set up safe houses that functioned as state-run brothels. The peak of this psychological warfare took place at the Allen Memorial Institute in Montreal, where Dr. Ewan Cameron led Sub-Project 68. Cameron believed he could de-pattern a person, meaning he would entirely erase their memories and personality before attempting to reprogram them with new traits. To break his patients, Cameron used chemically induced comas that lasted for weeks and repetitive, high-intensity electroconvulsive therapy that caused massive memory disturbances. During psychic driving sessions, disoriented patients were forced to listen to audio messages on looped tapes for 20 hours a day. Speakers were even hidden under their pillows could play the messages while they slept. People seeking help for minor mental health issues were instead subjected to systemic psychological dismantling, proving the agency was willing to fund literal torture under the guise of psychiatric care. In 1973, as the threat of investigation grew, the CIA director ordered the total destruction of all records related to MKUltra to hide the scale of their activities. The cover-up was nearly successful until a cache of surviving financial documents was discovered. These receipts provided the evidence needed to launch the 1977 Senate hearings. This is the official record of that hearing. It confirmed that the agency had targeted thousands of citizens at all social levels, including the covert drugging of mental patients, prisoners, and children. Senator Ted Kennedy issued subpoenas to the lead operatives of the program, but when they appeared, the men responsible for the amnesia experiments often claimed amnesia of their own. The deliberate destruction of primary evidence ensured that despite the horrific findings, no CIA officer ever faced a criminal conviction for their role in the program. The government eventually paid a financial settlement to the Olson family, accompanied by a public apology from President Gerald Ford, in an attempt to put the case to rest. However, when Olson's body was exhumed in 1994, the forensic evidence showed he had been knocked unconscious by a blow to the temple before he ever went out the window, a detail that aligned perfectly with the CIA's own assassination protocols. The experiments of the 1950s were limited by the crude technology of the time, requiring isolation and high-dose chemicals to influence behavior. Today, the institutions that once sought to map the mind have access to the digital signatures we leave behind every day. Considering the documented history of these agencies bypassing laws for a strategic edge, we must consider how those same goals of behavior modification might be pursued through the massive data harvesting of the modern era. The formal MKUltra program is over, But the ambition to control human thought is a permanent part of institutional history, one that has likely found more efficient tools than a spiked drink.